Alright, we're back. Alright, so the next step will be to build our water drip tank. And I'm going to have to drill some holes in the side of this and then create some spacers to space this apart so our lids don't interfere. And then I need to add an adapter that'll go in the front here for our water drip valve and the feed tube. So I'm going to go ahead and drill my mount holes and install this, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so the water drip tank is now installed. So there is my adapter for the needle valve. Now I did like a 3-point mount, and I actually wish I would have brung the bolts closer to the edge here, because as you can see it's kind of flimsy. I got a center one sort of at the bottom. Let's get a light in here so you can see. So see that center one? So it's right in the center of that, and it's thin steel. So if I were you, if you were to do this, I would do 4 of them and closer to the edge to give it a little more integrity. Alright, so the next step will be to install the jet and the needle valve and the feed tube. Okay, so the simplest method will be to use a 1-inch MPT. If you look up Gary Gilmore's simplifier, he uses a 1-inch MPT pipe for his jet. You could theoretically do the same. This one's 1 inch by 4, so that would thread into the adapter on this side. And then to do your water drip, you would need a close nipple like this, and you need to drill just a simple hole in it for your feed tube. So your feed tube would go in here, and then you drill a hole in it to go in here, and then you terminate this probably about halfway in. Now I'm going to do something different, even though I am going to use the 1-inch MPT pipe in here, but I'm going to create an evap tube, and that's going to require a little bit more elaborate setup. So basically here I got a 3/4 inch thick wall close nipple, it's 2 inches, and then a 1 inch to 3/4 adapter. So I still have my pipe in here, right? So this will thread in like so. Alright, now I'm going to drill a hole in here for my feed tube, and then I will use a cap to shut it down, which I don't think I showed you. Yeah, if you were to do it the other way, you have to just here, and you would use a 1 inch cap. If you want to be all fancy, you can get these high pressure ones, something like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an evap tube that's going to extend in there, and I am going to, you could put a cap on the end of this, but I'm just going to weld a cap on the end of this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread this thick wall for the 1/2 inch pipe. So this will be capped off, and then what I'm going to do is drill jets all the way around this, so that when my air comes in, it'll flow through those jets and in through the 1 inch pipe. Now my water drip, instead of terminating here, I'm actually going to slot this, and I'm going to extend it in past those jets. to the end of this, and then the heat will evaporate the water to flash it to steam. So that should be a bit more efficient. So that is going to be the experiment here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what that looks like assembled. Okay. Alright, so I got my evap tube made, and then I have the adapter, and I have that tapped out for the 1/2-inch pipe. Now, this is a 1/2-inch pipe tap. This is a 12.58 socket. It fits perfectly on here. So, because this is pretty tough to tap. So if you have an impact at home, you could drive this into the pipe with an impact. So a little tip there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and assemble this, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, now the 1-inch tube, I guess this would be the shroud, or actually this probably would be the jet nozzle. So I did shorten it down to 2 inches long. So I'll install that. And don't over tighten this stuff. It'll get plenty tight as it's getting heat cycled. Oh yeah, and I forgot to drill a hole, so I got my holes drilled. I just started out with 2 3/8 holes on each side, and they're gonna come out the sides. You know, it's just an experiment. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, as you can see, I have this threaded into where I tap this. Now I'm gonna orient my slot. Probably put some marks on this so I can locate where these are. I don't know what orientation will be best, but we're going to start out straight out the sides. And we'll set this up like so. I don't know if I can get another twist out of that or not. I don't know how I'm going to try. Alright. Oh, you got it out of the way. Alright, so I'm going to extend this all the way to the very back. Mark my bend line. I can always trim that back. Quite have this right, so I'm going to have to few adjustments. Still close it off. Limit our air in here for shutdown. That should work. Alright, so we'll take give you guys a peek inside of here. So that's what it'll look like. So the water will come in here and evaporate from the heat, and then the air coming out those holes will go around this, creating more heat. So that should drive that flash steam process, boosting our gas output. Alright, so the next thing now gas output. I'm going to use the quick connect. I'm going to use an aluminum because this will get hot. And then I'm going to use these hose adapters. These are nice. I don't know if you want to move it. Pretty stiff new. You know, you can disconnect it quick and easy without having to take a screwdriver, loosen up hose clamps or anything like that. Just unlock those guys. Yeah, always take these stupid rings off. These are so that you can zip tie these things shut, but these have got locks on them, so it's really not necessary. And it's kind of like, what's the point in having these in the first place if you're gonna lock them in place anyway? Alright, yeah, the other option is you can get I got one here. You go to MPT to a barb fitting like this. You can put that in here and then just hose clamp onto here. And then we'll be using high temperature hose for the out. I have some stock. Oh yes, I need a whole bunch of this stuff here, you can handle up to 500 degrees. Should never get that hot. Generally, the gas coming out of this is an endothermic process, especially with that water drip. This will be almost cool to the touch. Maybe a little warm, but definitely not going to burn you. But just in case, there may be times where it can get that hot, so that's why we have to use this hose. But for the most part, it should never really get that hot. Well, yeah, this thing got pretty heavy. Alright, well, that'll conclude this segment, and the next segment will be to create the bag filter, and I'm not sure if we'll do separate segments for that. I'm planning doing a bag filter, a fine filter inline, using another ammo box, and then of course the blower. So I'll probably do that in all separate segments. So that concludes this one, and we'll see you in the next. Thanks.